The following is brought to you by Africa World TV.
Hello everyone, this is Salome Mulugeta with Africa World TV, and happy Easter from all of us here at Africa World TV. Today we reflect on a powerful question. Have you ever heard God speak audibly, or do you know anyone who has? Have you ever known anyone to say God speaks audibly? Have you ever witnessed a prayer being answered in an extraordinary way or in a supernatural way? So this Easter, you're in for a treat, because we have remarkable real-life stories of people who have experienced God's divine voice and His mercy. From a man who was instructed to give away his house for his own protection, to a moment when God asked another man, "Why are you abandoning me?" You'll also hear how God revealed a future husband audibly to a young lady. Another woman's heartfelt prayer was also answered for her unborn child. He also granted a blessing to another woman who was having a really hard time to have a child. These are powerful, unforgettable stories to experience this Easter day. So stay with us as we bring you these amazing, inspiring stories.
Hi everyone, how are you? My name is Deidre, and I would love to share my testimony with you. You know, in the year 1998, I got married, and my husband and I were trying to get pregnant. It took us 2 years to get pregnant, and being a Christian that we are true believers that God is able to do above and beyond what you ask or even think of Him. And so while I was pregnant, I prayed and I told the Lord that He should bless the child in my womb and give her the gift of singing. And I can testify that when she was born, she was in the NICU for a few weeks, sick, and she cried so loud that the nurses were like, "This child is going to be a singer." By the age of 6, I started entering her in gospel competitions, and she finally won the JCDC Children Gospel Competition in the year 2015. Today, she is 25 years old, a wife, a mother, and she has a full-time singing ministry. And I can tell somebody that when you put your request to the Lord, He's willing and able to come through for you. I committed her to God. I told the Lord to take her and use her gift to give Him glory, and that's exactly what she did. And I must tell you that whatever it is that you need from the Lord, make your request be known unto Him. He will come true for you. God bless you. I hope this testimony will be a blessing to you.
Juro que volé. Es que me encantas tanto, se me mira Hi, my name is Silvia Hernandez from Mexico City, and I want to share my testimony with you, as I call it, my miracle babies. In the year 2000, my husband and I got married, and we decided to start a family. A year went by, and nothing happened. The second year, we started going to the doctors and going through all these processes that take place so that you can be a mom, and still didn't work. So one time I thought for sure I was pregnant, and as I was taking a shower, all this blood come out of me like gushing, and I thought, that's it, I'm not doing this anymore. And I said, God, I let go. And I let God. It's on your hands. I'm not doing this anymore. So I remember my husband and I, we went to the Basilica, which is a church we have here in Mexico City. There's a lot of miracles happening there. And it's not because we weren't there before, it's just that after that happened, in the shower, I just went there and I cried and I prayed and I said, that's it, Mother, Father, Lord, Jesus, that's it, I'm done. And it's up to you. But I thank you. I thank you because I know that I can help somebody else in this world. As I remember that, I still have that shivers. But after that prayer, crying, I remember we came home and we were just holding each other. Then a month after, I found out I was pregnant. And I just thought, I don't know, what if the same thing happens again? But it didn't. I have my baby. His name is Christopher Maximo Nava Hernandez. And 4 years later, I had another miracle baby, Emmanuel Nava Hernandez. And we have a beautiful family, and God is always with us. That is my testimony. Those are my miracle babies. And I'm so happy, and I'm so thankful to God and the Virgin of Guadalupe that they made it possible. Thank you.
Are we saying that it is all negative elements dominating the society? So we have got to take a stand to protect our women and our children and leave a heritage and a good inheritance for the next generation. That's our job. They didn't mess it up. Our people messed it up. Now we must clean it up for the next generation. No question. Problems facing the nation, we must now resolutely tackle. If not, there is no future for any of us. What is the heritage we are leaving for our children? More and more criminality, more and more wanton, brutal murders that's taking on increasing proportions of barbarianism. We must reverse that. That's what Christianity brought to the world and reversed it. And so therefore we must now rise as leaders, the church, that moral voice, a prophetic voice. And it's got to be more than a voice. It's got to be work. It's got to be action. It has to be practical engagement, and apply the pressure where it needs to be, and no let up until the change comes. And that's the mood we're in, because I believe our people are tired, and we've got to be a voice for the voiceless.
Yes, hello everyone. I would like to share this testimony with you all, especially to those who are wondering if God speaks to them. I want to let you know that it's important to know the voice of God. It's also important to be obedient to His voice, because ultimately it saves us from a lot of trouble. My name is Audley Spencer, and I'm a Jamaican, and I want to explain to you a story that I heard the voice of God and how it changed my life and makes things different for me today. So it was a small community called Lauriston in Jamaica where I lived, and I just got married, and I had my house there. I was separated from my home due to gang violence, and so I moved to another community nearby called Chedega Park. So living in Chedega Park, about a year after I moved from Lauriston, I started a small business. So what I usually do is that every midday I normally lock the place up for a minute, go inside, kneel down and pray to God. And whilst I was praying one day, I heard the voice of God expressly saying to me in these words, and I quote, "Give the house to the church." Now that is the house that I left, I abandoned, and I just got married. Now that was a hard thing to do because, as you know, the income from the house would have been a good help, and I could have even sold it and got some money to bolster my business. However, I realized, because not only did I hear, but I felt within me the conviction that it was God. So what I did, I just got up from my knees, jumped in a taxi because I didn't have a car at the time, and I went to my church, which was the New Life Church of God, just there in Lauriston, Bishop Carter, who was my mentor and teacher. And I went to him with the keys, told him, of course, what I heard from God, and all he said to me was, if God said it, I won't be in God's way. Now, several years after that, maybe about another 8 years after that, right there about, the house was attacked and persons died in that house. And of course, possibility exists that if I was living in the house, I may have been the person that perished in the house. So it is very, very, very important to know. And as a matter of fact, this is a story that that was in the news. So this, and it caused national interest. The crime that happened in the house got national interest. So it was televised, recorded, and everything. So this is not just something that I'm making up. It is a fact, can be ratified by persons who knows me and for persons who are from both the communities of Lauriston and Chedega Park. Now I must encourage persons who are struggling, wondering if God speaks to them. Yes, God speaks. He speaks to Moses, he speaks to David, he speaks to the prophets, and he speaks to us individually. We are not too low for him because we are the apple of his eyes. Yes. So, we sometimes don't understand his voice, and sometimes we are rebellious, other times we just don't know. But I think that it is important for us to listen for his voice, because sometimes things are said and we become confused because of the noise and everything that is all around us, and so we drown out the voice of God. But if you listen in a quiet time, in a loud time, he speaks to you from anywhere. He doesn't have to speak to a pastor, he doesn't have to speak to a prophet, he doesn't have to speak to a priest. He can speak in your own ears, and you can hear and understand his voice. And so for persons who really are wondering if it's him talking, yes, anything pertaining to God and anything pertaining to good, he will speak to you directly to your ears. And so I believe my wife and I, and possibly my children, our lives were spared based on the fact that I was obedient to the voice of God. And what he said, it was a hard thing, but it was for my benefit. And so not everything that seems difficult is working against you. There are times that there are things that will draw you into your destiny. There are things that will draw you into purpose. There are things that will take you over and across into something that is beneficial to your life. The story of the crime that happened in my house is on YouTube, and God has been good to me because I was obedient to Him. Please listen to His voice, and you can talk back to Him too, because He hears and He understands. Have yourselves a good life. Be good to yourselves, and remember, God speaks, and we here, we must be obedient. All the best.
Good morning. My name is Tade Ntoye. I'm from Africa, exactly from the Congo. I just want to share my testimony with brothers and sisters about experiencing God speaking to me. A couple of years ago, before I moved to this country in the United States, I have any time to prepare myself to be ready for me to come to this country. And as you know that before you move to a different country, you have to have a visa, and you have to do all the necessary preparation for you to be able to move. I have all the necessary that it be needed for me to be able to move to US. It came a day that I decided, after a couple of years praying, asking God for a favor, that the day that I will be going to the embassy for the interview, we have my visa to move to US. And that particular day came, I was supposed to go to the interview. I got my appointment. I got all my papers ready. Then I went to the embassy. I got to the embassy. Imagine yourself after praying for a few years and days and months, and I was supposed to be in the embassy on one day. So I been there one day, the day that I was there, and my interview took almost like only 5 minutes, and my visa was denied. I was disappointed. I cried that day. I remember that I was coming out of the embassy and it started raining the same day. I was crying. As I was crying, my tears, nobody can see it because it was raining and all the tears falling on my cheeks. I was crying. I was asking questions. I said, God, why? Why that people that they do bad things, they will go to the embassy, they will get the visa, and then they will travel? Why not me? I'm serving you. I'm praying. I pray. I fast for this. And this day, it was a disappointed day for me. Why? I went back home. I fell on my knee. I was crying. I was questioning God. Then I made my decision. I say, never again. I'm not going to pray again. I'm not going to talk to God again. I don't believe on this one. I don't believe on God again because this is not true. It can't happen. Why it has to happen to me? When another people that they do bad things, they will go there, they will receive the visa without any problem. I haven't all the necessary. Why that happened? I decided, I say, I'm not going to pray again. I'm not going to go to church again. I'm not going to believe in anything again. So that day passed by. The following day passed. The third day passed. I was questioning myself. I said, why? Then there was just a spirit telling me that, okay, today is Sunday, you have to go to church. I kind of resisted to do that, and then I decided, I say, okay, I'm gonna go. So I wake up that morning on Sunday, I get myself together, and I go to church. As I was on the bus going to the church, I was sitting on the last row of the bus, and there was people, they were sitting down around me, in front of me, around me. And I was there as I was going to church, and I felt like I was sleeping, but I was not sleeping. I knew they was driving us somewhere to church, and I felt like I sleep, but I was not sleeping. I can see people that was around me, but I just kind of closed my eyes. I hear a voice. Brothers and sisters, God speak. He spoke in the back, in the old time, and He's still speaking in our own day. Nowadays, God is still speak. It was my first time to have an encounter with God speaking to me through me. My eyes was wide open. I can hear the voice. It's not somebody that was behind me or aside or in front of me talking, but I was listening to the voice. That voice was speaking to me, and the voice tell me, you want to abandon me just because you didn't get a visa to travel to US? You want to abandon me? And the question came again, like, how about the money that you have, everything that you have? Who giving that to you? I just opened my eyes. I was looking, the person was behind me, aside, on my left, on my right, in front of me. Nobody was speaking, and I heard that voice. I was like, who told me this thing? As soon as I got to the church, I run inside the church, run in the altar. I just fell on my knee. I started crying. I said, God, forgive me. Forgive me, forgive me. I'm not going to abandon anymore. I believe in you. I know if I didn't travel today or this day that left, it passed, I know you have a plan for me. I felt like cry like a baby. It's just to let you know that God still speak in our days. I hear God's voice. I hear God's voice. God is still speaking. And from that moment, my life have changed. I see things differently. Whatever I'm doing in my life, whenever I never get that right way, I know for sure God listen to me and God speak. And He will accomplish what we desire from Him. So that was my short testimony that I'm supposed to share with you, just to encourage somebody, to let you know that God still speaks in our days.
I see an amazing place. Feels like a dream. A place of many wonders and full of life. I open my eyes. Earth is our Pandora.
Hello, my name is Sherry Ann Zephyrin. I am from the beautiful island of Barbados, and I just want to share my testimony of how God brought me together with my kingdom spouse. And so years ago, I was in more than one, many relationships didn't work out. And so I was so frustrated, right? And so I remember in my late teens, early 20s, I met the father of my daughter. We got together, we got married, and we moved to Spain. That is where his family was. And I was so excited because I just wanted to explore. I just wanted a different culture. I just wanted to explore. However, I moved there. The relationship didn't work out. It didn't. And I had to learn a new language. And so it was hard for me to find a job. It was hard for me to create a whole new lifestyle. However, I had a young child at that time. I had no family there. I just knew his family. And so it was very hard for me. And so I remember just praying and asking God, like, what is happening? And if I should, just move on from this relationship. My ex-husband, he was very verbal abusive. Listen, he was not the person that God had created for me, but I was, in love with him. I was young, and I just moved on my heart what I was feeling. And so nothing worked out for me in Spain. And I remember just praying and asking God, what do I do? And I heard the Spirit of the Lord said to me, move back home. You need to move back. And so for me, that was a challenge because my daughter did not know the language. In Spain, if you were born in Spain, it is hard for you to separate and to take a child that was born in Spain back. And so I remember being so afraid to uproot my daughter and to bring her back. But God was leading me too. He was saying to go back, go back, go back. And so I decided to pack my things and I moved back. Listen, I didn't even let him know that I was moving back. He was not supporting her when we got the divorce. And so it was just me struggling with a young child at that time. And so it was awful, the worst experience anyone could go through. And so I did pack my things and move back home. It was hard for me to get back to that normalcy of life because my daughter did not speak English. And so I had to look for private school. I had to put her in somewhere that she could develop and advance like the other kids. So it was very hard. I had to find a job. I had to find a vehicle, all these different things. But I felt such a peace in my spirit. I felt like I was doing the right thing and I was in the right place. Although it was a struggle, I felt peace, unlike when I was in Spain. And so God started speaking to my spirit, and he was showing me that I had created someone for you. I know many people don't believe in God ordained spouses. They don't believe, they believe that God gives us choice, which is true. He gives us choice, but sometimes our choices are not the choice that he would give us, right? Sometimes we choose wrong. And so I was praying. I remember praying and asking God, I do not want to go back into a relationship that was not of you. And so I remember just praying and asking God, please help me to choose that person. Please send that person for me. And so I remember one day I went to a friend's 40th birthday party. I was at that party and I met my God-ordained spouse. I wasn't interested in him. I wasn't interested at all. But a few weeks, months later, God said to me, that is your spouse. And I'm like, what? I heard the Spirit of the Lord, the voice of God saying, that is your spouse. I have chose him. And I'm like, God, are you sure? And so I remember just fasting and praying and asking God to confirm to me. And so he would confirm in many dreams and visions until I came to the realization, okay, God, I accept this person that you have ordained for me. In the beginning, I wasn't in love with him, but I felt so deeply in love, and there was such a deep connection with him. However, God was saying to me, I needed to pray for him. Like certain things in the relationship was off, right? He was not a believer at that time. And so that was an issue for me. I'm like, God, are you sure? Are you sure? And he keep reconfirming that, yes, this is the person that I have chosen for you. And so God prompted me to go on a fast for him. He separated us. We were friends, but he separated that friendship. He said we could only connect on the phone, but we weren't to see each other. And so in that process, I remember God saying to me, Sherry Ann, you need to go on a 6-day fast for your spouse. You need to break covenants, old past covenant relationships that he had been in the past. I had done it for myself. And so I had to break certain generational patterns and certain covenants. And so in that process, I began to do what God was instructing me to do. And so I began praying 6 days. I went on a fast and I began praying that God would break those soul ties and past covenants that he has been in, and generational curses, generational patterns that were off on his life. And I remember coming out of those 6 days and God spoke to me. I heard the voice saying, you got an A, well done. And so at the end of it, months passed and God said, okay, now it's time. He reconnected us again. So we started dating. And so a few years after that, God brought us together in marriage. And so it's the most beautiful thing when God connects you with that person, that bone of your bone and the flesh of your flesh. When Adam was created, God took the rib out of Adam and he created Eve. And so all that I studied and I realized that God do create someone for each of us, right? Those who are desiring a marriage. And so I'm here to tell anyone you've been in past relationships, it did not work out for you. Pray and ask God to connect you with the person that ordained for you even before the foundation of the earth. I know a lot of people don't believe in it, but it is true because I've experienced it. And now I'm connected to the bone of my bone and the flesh of my flesh. It's the most beautiful thing ever. The relationship is not perfect. We have our ups and downs, but we work it out because we love each other so much. Whatever happens, we pray about it together, and we allow God to just be the center of that relationship and to work out everything. Nothing is perfect. No relationship is perfect. But when you have God in the center of it, everything just works out so beautifully. And so I'm here to tell anyone, you're out there, God, what happened? I've been in relationships and none of them have worked out. Just pray and ask God to connect you with the bone of your bone, the flesh of your flesh. It is so important that you break any generational curses and soul ties before you go into that relationship. God has taught me this, and so I'm teaching it to the world now. It is very essential, it's very important, because when you connect with different persons that are not meant or ordained for you, it can cause issues spiritually in that relationship. So it's very important that you put God as the center of that relationship and allow him to help you to choose. Amen. So that is what I wanted to share. I love you guys so much. Be blessed in Jesus' mighty name.
Stay tuned for our upcoming Ethiopian Easter testimony. Thank you for watching.